Hi everybody, welcome into another episode of Arsenal Fan Circle. Thanks for watching. What's your opinion on the Koscielny, uh, what's the word even, saga? Hasn't even started yet. I think it's going to go long into the season, into the window. So be prepared for this thing to rumble on. He's obviously agitating for a move away, but this is the wrong way to do it. He forgets about the loyalty that the club has shown to him, getting him recovered from his Achilles rupture, which happened last season. Here's my take on it. I believe he wanted to leave when Arsene Wenger was stepping down, and he was not able to do that because of his injury. Needed to recuperate. Took all of that season, all of that year pretty much, and came back in December. Now, as club captain, he needs to conduct himself in a better way. This is not becoming of a captain of any club. He needs to go through the right channels. But this sends a very, very bad message for Arsenal Football Club as a whole. Is he signaling that this club is not being run correctly and he doesn't like the structures in place? Or is he just simply agitating for a move? Either way, I believe the club needs to get value for money, and the club needs to get a decent transfer, a decent amount of money back from him. Because of the Ospina deal, we did not get a lot, so we need to offset that. The club needs to do some business and get some money back. Now, he worked himself back into good form in the early part of this year. Coming back too early against Southampton, he was culpable for all three goals in my opinion, and against Southampton. But he did work himself into some good form, so much so that he was one of our better defenders in the springtime, and that's kind of an indictment on our existing defenders. Are you listening, Shkodran Mustafi? Are you listening? So where Koscielny's game should have been managed in the run-in, they were compromised because of Mustafi's poor defensive displays, especially at home against Crystal Palace. But really believe this is a point where Emery lost all faith in Shkodran Mustafi, and we really need to move him on. As a consequence of that performance, Shkodran, Laurent Koscielny had to play against Wolverhampton Wanderers away from home and Leicester City away from home also. We failed miserably in both games, and I believe the Leicester City game was one of the worst performances under Unai Emery, and it was probably a lot of it was due to Koscielny not being able to be playing so many games. So, in summary, I think we go to the Europa League final, and Koscielny has really been shown up by Eden Hazard, who ran rings around Arsenal's defence. Not just Koscielny, but all of the defence. What has happened with Koscielny is something that should happen with the whole team. He has obviously looked at himself in the mirror and realised that he cannot face the rigours of another English Premier League season. He needs to move to France, where he can cope with football played at a slightly slower pace. England has finally caught up to Koscielny's years, and he obviously looked at himself in the mirror and said, I'm not cut out for English football anymore. Something which some of our players really should have done after that defeat as well in the Europa League final. So, in summary, Koscielny has not conducted himself as a captain. He should be stripped of the captaincy, and Hector Bellerin should be installed as the captain. Socrates is a very worthy vice captain, and he should be installed as vice captain. I'm not in favor of forwards becoming captain material. It just hasn't worked really. Not in favor of goalkeepers either. It's got to be a midfielder for me or a defender, and we can't make Xhaka the captain. I think Hector Bellerin has ingrained himself in the fabric of the club. He acts almost like a local Londoner, and he speaks a little bit like one too. I think he's a very, very good captain material. Other players will look up to him and follow him, especially the younger players who have seen that he's come through the youth ranks and progressed in the team. I think if we're serious about rewarding the academy players and bringing them through, then we need to show that we reward those players when they've come and done well for the team. And Hector Bellerin should be given the captaincy. Socrates can be vice captain. Shout out to Richard from Arsenal TV, who has been talking about him. Socrates is 31. He can be around for a year or two, but we need a captain in place. No more 5 captains. We need to settle in on a captain, and it's got to be Hector Bellerin when he comes back from injury. Looking around the league, not a lot happening, but for us especially, we need to solidify deals for Tierney. What's happening with Tierney? Let's get that over the line, please. What's happening with Saliba? Let's get that done as well. Tottenham are trying to gazump that Saliba deal. So we need to move on. And another thing that's ridiculous is offering 3 players for Zaha. I'm not interested in doing that at all. 40 million plus to Callum Chambers? No way. Jenkinson, yes. Elneny, yes. But don't let Chambers go. He's a utility player that we could really, really use. He can play in defence. He can play in midfield. We need to keep Callum Chambers, especially if nothing is doing in the centre-back area. We need to keep Callum Chambers. William de Jong has talked about Arsenal in one sentence. He said Arsenal used to be a beautiful destination. Now he feels like it's not anymore, and he thought that he would take the Marc Overmars route and go from Ajax to Arsenal to Barcelona, and now he's gone directly from Ajax to Barcelona. This speaks to the slide that we've been in for the last couple of years, and we need to arrest that slide. Starting this season, Unai Emery need to get rid of some of these players, especially Skadran and Mkhitaryan, Elneny, Jenkinson. The list goes on. There's a lot of players that need to be moved on. But folks, I think it's gonna have to wait till after the US tour and we come back to the Emirates Cup in late July and early August. I think it's gonna be another late window for Arsenal, and we may in fact see Jim White at the end of the transfer window talking about Arsenal ins and outs. If you're new to the channel, sign up for the first team, hit that subscriber button, bell notification will let you know when new videos drop, and I will see you guys probably on Sunday when we have a podcast. Until then, be good, everybody.